Drop the roof and let the smoke clear.
Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome everybody in the chat. What's up? Welcome to the first episode, the pilot episode of SarCAST. That's what we're calling the podcast here, right? And you guys already know me. It's me, Mirko. And today we have Arashi. At this point, Arashi, what do I call you, man?
Awashi will be the official name.
Awashi? Are you gonna change your name to Awashi actually, like on MPL and MPL as well? Awashi?
I think I should at this point, right? It's just less common as well. Might just stick out more.
All right. Well, Arashi, Awashi, you guys can call him anything you want. I see a lot of daddies in chat too. I think that's fine for Arashi, right? No?
Uh-huh.
Okay. But yeah, I'm just going to shout out everyone who's been here and who's joined the chat already, joined the stream already. Nicholas Bryan, ATP Ray, Catalino, Rab Kingling. Is that how you say your name? Dandalandan, Fritz, Punchable Face. Welcome everybody to the first episode. Again, the pilot episode for the SarCAST podcast. Now, we've already discussed on a few topics, right? Before we started the show. And these topics are kind of spicy right now. It's trending. It's very much trending in the MLBB world. So let's just start off with you want to just introduce yourself real quick, Arashi, in case some people don't know who you are, where to find your socials, etc.
Well, Mirko has generously put my socials under my name, so that's really pretty good. For those of you who don't know who I am mainly the analyst and the MPL ID English desk. I'm a longtime friend of Mirko's as well. We've known each other for about what is it at this point, 7-8 years?
Yeah,
it's wild.
He knew me since I was a boy.
How we met is also a story for its own arc essentially. But anyhow, yeah, so we work at the MPL ID desk together. I'm mainly an analyst, so some people might expect deep dives, but don't.
Don't expect deep dives from Arashi unless he's on the desk, okay? Because he is. Oh yeah, whatever. We'll get to that in a later episode, right? But today, again, there are a lot of crazy topics that we want to talk about, and today, for the first topic, we're gonna just get into it. Imported players in the in MPL, just in general, right? Because I think everyone knows currently, it's I don't think it's news anymore, right? Kyrie, Yeb, they have been imported to Onyx ID. Welcome, by the way, to Kyrie and Coach Jeb. If you guys are watching this, yeah, welcome to Indonesia, man. Hope we get some time to hang out. Maybe us, some of the casters, get to hang out with Kyrie, Yeb, and maybe the Onyx boys sometime later. But yeah, firstly, welcome to those two because man, it's going to be crazy, right? Season 10 is already shaping up to be crazy. We'll get into the Season 10 topic later on, but firstly, I want to get your thoughts on this, Arashi, okay? Because we've heard a lot of different opinions on imported players, especially in Indonesia here. You've heard it from Anti-Mage, who kind of accepted it. He's saying that it'll bring more positive things towards MPID, but he's also kind of he's still skeptical about it, right? So, and then we have some people like Rect. Now, Rect is, I guess, kind of against the idea of imported players. He actually said it on his stream, quote unquote, that he doesn't he doesn't want to play in the MPL in EVOS Legends if EVOS has imported players because he has Indo pride. That's what he said, right? To quote him. So what about you, Arashi, as an analyst, as a person who follows a lot of different sports as well, right? You follow the NFL. Just, tell us.
I mean, I actually follow boxing and MMA, but I do follow the NFL kind of because I spent a bit in the US. So a lot of interest in different kind of scenes, especially when it's competitive, right? I think all of us can relate to being attracted to competitive sports, competitive events. So off the bat, I really think it's really cool that Mobile Legends, as of right now, or MPL essentially, is so big that we can have international transfers. Off the bat, that is already insane. I would never have thought, initially at least, that Mobile Legends can get so big, but here we are. So with that being said, I do think that there might be a bit of concern, considering that what makes it really cool or very what makes the fans very divided and also very passionate is the fact that we have our own regions we can support, right? Our own regions we can be 100% for. But now when you start mixing things up, right? If you've been always so supportive because you have Indo pride, right? Let's say as you're saying Rec does, then in a way, now if your team is a mix, now you're kind of confused. Is this, am I still Indo pride kind of? If three members of the team are from the Philippines,
Yeah.
So I think there's a bit of a a shift in how the fans will be able to like enjoy the sport kind of. But I do think that it makes the whole scene as overall more dynamic. But the second concern I have essentially is also the fact that does that mean that the richer, more successful regions will eventually just be the strongest region because they will import all the better players into their own region? That would be a bit of a shame, right? If a prodigy shows up in Cambodia and instantly Indonesia goes, I want that guy. Like, just yoinks him. And when is Cambodia gonna grow big enough to actually match up to the Philippines and Indonesia? So I think those are like my main concerns with it.
Yeah, I mean those are solid points, solid topics. I mean solid talking points from Arashi. But yeah, I kind of agree with Arashi right here. But yeah, honestly, we have similar opinions on how this works out, right? Imported players, etc. But before I guess we dive deep into my opinions and maybe talk with Arashi, converse about again the imported players and how this will affect MPL ID. I do want to talk about one thing, guys. So there are regulations on the imports. All right. I asked a person from Muntan about the regulations in MPL ID. Like, how are they going to regulate this? Because back in the day, I'm not going to say which esports this is or which team it is, but back in the day, there was a team from a different game who had like 5 Chinese players in North America in their league, right? So. What are the regulations that MPL have right now? The regulations are they're only allowing 2 imported players to play on stage in the main 5 roster, but you can have a total of 3 imported players in your team. So like 1 has to be subbed off. You know what I mean? So 2 in the 5 that's playing and 3 in the entire roster. That's the regulations of the imported slots here in MPL ID. So yes, it's going to be a question whether or not like, oh, I'm an Indonesian, I'm supporting Onyx. Is this truly Indo pride or is it like somewhat Indo pride / Pinas lang Malakas, right? At some point, that's going to be very confusing. But because of the import regulations, it's still going to be mostly majority Indonesians playing in the Land of Dawn when they do compete. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, honestly, I that was a fun little thing you mentioned, Arashi, about like the support aspect of it.
Because I mean, like here, let's say we have Onyx. Okay, let's say Onyx actually wins really hard in season 10, and they are becoming really successful. And the Indo people will be like, yeah, see, it's Onyx, it's our guys. And then there'll be people who'll be like, well, I mean, but the players are our guys, So like, who is actually getting the fame, the glory, the respect?
Yeah,
I think that'll be a bit confusing, but we'll see.
Yeah. But on the other side, right? For me, because Arashi's talking about the supporter perspective, let's talk a little bit about that, right? Because for me as well, if we're talking about MPL ID, if we're talking about just MPL in general, usually, some people from the Philippines, some people from outside of Indonesia, they do watch MPL ID, obviously in the English desk. That's growing again and again. So thank you guys so much for the support on the English desk as well. But as another positive, I feel like for this imported players topic is the fact that a lot of Filipinos are going to be watching MPID now in season 10 because they're Filipino players, especially Kyrie. I don't know if Kyrie's pretty big in the Philippines, right? He's a household name there. Everyone knows Kyrie. Everyone who follows MLBB knows Kyrie, so with I think right now it's rumored that it's not rumors anymore. Onyx PH, they've let go of their entire roster, right? So they're all free agents. Onyx ID, obviously they picked up Yeb, they picked up Kyrie. Where's Larsky gonna go? Where's Beloyski gonna go, right? Where's Hatred gonna go? And Marquis as well. There's just a lot of players who are still in limbo right now. We don't know where they are. We'll get into that though because I see someone in the chat already talking about the team that we're going to be talking about later, which is Geek Fam PH Pride. That's what Dan says in the chat. It's going to be really interesting to see, but it's also going to increase viewership here in Indonesia because there's going to be more international interest, and that's where I want to talk about football. Right? Let's talk about football real quick. Biggest sport in the world. I think that's just a fact right now. Not the American football. The real football. Yes. You actually mentioned this, right? Like if let's say a Cambodian player, very young, prodigy, he comes into the scene and a richer, more developed MPL region just takes him, buys him from Cambodia. How will that region, grow? That's a very solid concern. Honestly, that's a very solid concern, and I think that's something that Moonton as well wants to look at, right, wants to. I'm pretty sure they're already doing their research on it. Like, how do they want to just regulate that even more? Maybe they. I don't know. I don't know how to regulate these things, right? Because in football, there are no regulations on these kind of things, and this is exactly what happens. The Portuguese league, there are a lot of crazy players, right? The Ronaldo, etc. But they all get, they're all the players instantly. They move to the Premier League. They move to like the bigger leagues, and that's where the problem is, right? For these clubs who are, let's say, Cambodian, organizations who are Cambodian, how do we keep these players instead of like selling them? Because obviously the players as well, they're very ambitious, right? They don't just want to play in maybe Cambodia. They want to play in MPL ID. They want to play and win MSC, M4. And honestly speaking, so far it's either you go to the Philippines or not at all, right? If you want to win an international tournament right now, it's like you go to the Philippines, you win, maybe, because even in MPL, it's just so competitive. But that's the crazy aspect about it, actually, right? Like, now there are just a lot of things that we can talk about, like the transfers, the regions, but I think we should look at this with a different perspective, guys. You know, a lot of people who I've seen who are not really supporting this imported player idea, they're looking at it like it's still all about the country, you know? Sure, MPL ID is Indonesia. MPL Indonesia region, right? MPL PH Filipino region. That's it. But it's not really fully representing the country. You know, it's more of the organizations, because these organizations aren't some actually aren't Indonesian, right? Geek Fam is a Malaysian organization, if not mistaken. So again, it's more of the organization. It's more of this business. It's more of like, how does this organization get more exposure, get more trophies, right? So it's not entirely just Indo pride, Filipino pride. When it comes to SEA Games, there you go. That's your Indo pride. That's your full Filipino pride, you know? But right now, it's more like club level. If you guys follow football, if you guys follow NFL, you should kind of understand, right? Because you also have like the basketball in SEA Games, and you also have like the teams, just the clubs in basketball. You know what I mean, Arashi?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. That's my opinion on it, you know? I feel like right now, I think we should think about it that way. Clubs. It's more like clubs and organizations. Sure, there is Indo pride still, because obviously it comes from the Indo region or it comes from the Filipino region. But yeah, that's my take on it. You know, they're not exactly fully just representing Indo.
Right. I think that's the issue with like dividing it per region. Although it does make for very interesting like comparisons, right? Whenever there's a huge international tournament, the fact that we are separated by servers essentially, right? By MPLs, Indo, Philippines, Vietnam, etc. That's why we can get like such heated rivalries. And maybe with a bit of a mix, right, for between the talent pool from both countries, maybe the fan base will get somewhat more united. That will be a huge positive if it does happen, right? Because the whole issue about the fan base being too passionate is a long-standing issue, and maybe this will help it. Maybe it won't. We'll just have to see, honestly.
Yeah. Honestly, it's just such an interesting topic now, and it's a topic that I didn't think would happen this soon, because I don't know. Right now, it's getting a lot of traction, right, Arashi? But in ID, we've actually had a lot of imported players already, right? We just it hasn't blown up yet. Wiz King, he's from Brunei. He played for RRQ. We also had Sasa back in the Kage era of Onyx prime days. He's Malaysian, right? He's not Indonesian. We also have Repo, who's currently in the best team. No, but Bigatron Alpha. Yeah, he's in Bigatron Alpha. Repo's in BTR. So we already have imported players playing in MPL ID. But now because we're starting to import a whole lot because of Onyx PH letting go of their roster, this is why it's like a trending topic now, right? And I don't know. For me, it's still mostly positive. Obviously, there are going to be some negatives and everything, right? But I think the positives outweigh the negatives here. And MPL is going to grow from this. The teams, the organizations, they're going to find more success. Perhaps, again, this is something that we don't know. Will it work? That's a big question still. And it's a big risk from taken by Onyx ID, right? They bring out the Filipino players. Even Geek Fam, they're bringing out question mark PH players, perhaps. But if it doesn't work out, they're going to get a lot of hate from it. They're going to be like, hey, why aren't you taking Indonesians that are like the hungry young Indonesians who are playing in the MDL, you know? It's a big risk for them, for sure.
Yeah, if they don't do well, they're going to get a lot of blame, for sure. And I think it's a bit of a mix, right? Because I've always viewed the two regions having a very contrasting style. I've always viewed that Indonesians are going to be a lot more aggressive and a lot more what do you call it? They're always aggressive and a lot of proactive in how they play. That's why I've always been very much a more Indonesian supporter, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
Philippines, I get the idea that you're mechanical, you're precise, and you can take it to the late game,
Very
and everything
efficient.
is very calculated, very efficient. But in a way, it's just a lot more exciting to see those high tempo plays, right? But now with the talent pool being mixed, you're gonna find people that are used to playing aggressive,
Mm-hmm.
mechanical, right, like the Indonesians, and then you're gonna find them mixing up with people who are wanting to play calculatively. If the shot caller is a aggressive person and the player, right, this player coming in, especially if it's a star player from the Philippines, right, he thinks he's good, he knows he's had accomplishments. If his squad leader just goes like, yo, go in, let's go aggressive, will he be able to, like, I don't know, put his opinions aside and just listen to the shot caller for the team to work in unity, right? That will be a big problem if it's not addressed early on in the merging of the teams.
Mm. Yeah, I agree. And speaking of this, actually, Arashi, speaking of like how the teams will communicate and stuff, right? Coach Bonchan, um,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, still the best coach in the world currently. He actually, I don't know what Bonchan does like moto vlogs now. He does moto vlogs. I don't watch his content because he speaks mostly Tagalog, but I watch him on Clippers, right? Clippers, they translate what he's saying to English. Shout out Zekiel if you're watching. Yeah. And I've been getting a whole lot of information from him. Well, mostly from the Clippers that translate his Coach Bonchan. Speak more English, please. I'm interested in I'm interested in the knowledge, man. Hey, but Gio's in the chat. Shout out. What's up, Gio? What's up, man? Hey, a fellow ID caster is in the chat. But yeah, everyone's talking about Kelra. Everyone's talking about all these. Blacklist is back for sure. We're gonna be talking about that in another. We're waiting for that, right? Right now, it's still imported players topic. So let's go back to Bonchan. In one of his moto vlogs, he actually mentioned that he doesn't think there's a big difference in terms of the skill of Indonesian players and Filipino players, right? Mechanically, Indonesian players are almost, or if not as good, maybe even better than Filipino players. But what Coach Bonchan said is it's the way that the Filipinos play. It's the mind, it's the brains. It's not necessarily just the bronze, just the mechanics, etc. And buying the players won't have a huge crazy impact. That's what I mean. It might work. Again, he said it might work, but it won't be like instant success. Because again, Kyrie, when it comes to Onyx Indo, he mentioned this in his stream. I mean, in his vlog that he's gonna have to adapt. You're not gonna see Kyrie instantly just connect with the team. Maybe that happens, right? But again, synergy is very important. Communication, how are they gonna get through that? Language barrier is a thing. Kyrie speaks English, but as we all know, most Indonesians, we don't really speak English that well. Some of us don't even understand English. And that's going to be a huge barrier, right? For the players.
For sure, I think that's what we're talking about, like how well they can adapt and play together, right? Because I think that's going to be one of the real hurdles for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of what Coach Bonchan has been saying, right? Like importing players maybe won't have a big of an impact because it's not the individual skill, it's the I don't know, the mindset, right? It's like the ideas how they play. So maybe there's a point to be made that like there might be more impact in importing coaches instead of players. Maybe, right? If that's the idea, right? If that's
Bonchan, you
how
want
they play.
you want to come to Indo?
Bonchan.
Bonchan. Yeah, yeah. I mean, again, this isn't confirmed yet, right? But there are rumors that some of the PH coaches are coming to Indo, right? I think Chat has been talking about it as well. Yeah, there's a lot of mentions about Coach Zico, etc. And Mark Moba also posted something in BTR's CEO's stream, Starlist. He was talking about like getting a Filipino coach to BTR, right? So maybe they're going for that. BTR, they're more like, you know what? We're fine with Indonesian players. Indonesian players, they're great, but we need that mind, right? It was Coach Age who was I called him mad genius back in the day. I still think he is a mad genius for like picking up all those crazy heroes and making it work. But yeah, I do agree. Right now, I think it's a fact that the Philippines are a step ahead, right? A level ahead of every region currently. Their dominance throughout these 2 years has been amazing to watch if you're a Filipino fan. Not so amazing if you're any other region, right? But yeah, I mean, again, there's no way they're this dominant just because they're lucky. They're damn good at the game. That's a fact currently, and it's because they have all these crazy minds. They're great minds who are working together sometimes, right? Like, let's talk a little bit about MSC. RSG PH against RQ. Upper bracket finals. RQ were able to take them down 3-1. But in the grand finals, it wasn't even close. It was a stomping. It was it definitely was just not close. 4-0, clean sweep, RSG. How did that happen, right?
The case for like Indonesia being too like rigid, one-dimensional. Because again and again, we've seen this is not the first time we've seen that an Indonesian team were able to beat like the eventual champions in the early stages of the tournament, and then later on they just get taken out. So, and we've seen a lot of people complain or like comment on the fact that like the Indonesian teams, yes, they're very solid, yes, they have great gameplay, but overall, once you figure them out, it's done. They don't have any other surprises they can bring out, right?
Yeah.
And I think a case can be made to Indonesians to like try and change something up. You can't just be good at plan A. You gotta have your plan Bs and plan Cs just in case the opposing team, especially with analysts as sharp as they have in Indonesia and Philippines, right? Once they figure out your patterns, once they know the silver bullet, right, how to take you out, you just have to give them like different looks, different feints almost.
Yeah, and I agree. It's just really weird because I've mentioned this in my stream before as well. RG Philippines, just the Philippines in general, they're just very solid with each other, Arashi. Did you know that during MSC, Bonchan actually released a video called Decoding RQ? Yeah,
Exactly,
he uploaded that.
I've seen that.
It was in full Tagalog, so I didn't know what he was saying. So I'm sorry, man. I watched the video, but I don't understand Tagalog. I think it's a smart way to do it though, because if he spoke English, I think RQ could have been like, oh yeah, okay, that's okay. Now let's change that, right? Let's throw the curveball in. So yeah, it's smart. But as a viewer, as a person who enjoys the competitive side of MLBB, I'd like to know what's going on there. Someone translate the entirety of that video. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are gonna watch, right? But yeah, the solidarity of the Filipinos, it's crazy, no? Like you wouldn't think that there's no way that a coach, let's say, Coach Zace makes a video about decoding RSG to help RQ. I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think he's gonna be uploading that on YouTube, maybe because of contractual issues, helping out another organization, or etc. I don't know what's going on, right? But the fact that Bonchan was able to do it, it's kind of crazy, right? Like he's helping is the Filipino representative to win. So there's not like, I don't know. It's just so amazing to me. I don't usually see that.
I think it's fine, if they try and regulate that, right? It just makes things a bit more stiff. But
Yeah.
right now, the fact is that if Bonchan doesn't do it, it doesn't mean like the analysts and coaches from, anywhere else wouldn't be able to figure it out. So I think there's no point in trying to say like, oh, it's because of Bonchan. If Bonchan didn't release a video, everything would have been fine. Well, not really, right?
No.
So I think the fact that a single person can do it, much less another organization, let's say a coach or two coaches with like multiple analysts, they might be able to reach the same conclusion. So I think the idea isn't to prevent anyone from decoding you. It's to be more flexible, to make sure that you're just not that one-dimensional, that some teams can't just solve one issue and be done with it and call it a day.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? On that note, right, Arashi, we're still talking about imported players here. Let's talk about
Eterna's in chat.
Hey, Eterna's in chat. Cool content. Hey, thank you, Eterna. You have a lot of cool content too, man. You're popping off recently, guys. Can we get a heart for Eterna in the chat? Because she's gonna need a heart. I don't know why, but yeah. Let's move on to the next topic, which is Arashi. Now this is big news. Okay, this is big news. Everyone, I want Mirko to decode me. Okay, nice.
Okay, nice. Relax.
Let's meet at M4, buddy. But yeah, now this is something right here. The video you see up here. I'm sorry, Geek Fam. I didn't get. Let me use your video, please. But my goodness, this is big. This is huge, guys. This is huge, right? It's confirmed. It's confirmed. They're going to get a PH import. Zay said this. I thought he was trolling on stream. He's like, oh yeah, Geek Fam. They have Filipino players. I'm like, all right, buddy. Right? It's because Zace. Can you blame me? Zace, he's always kind of trolly, right? So I didn't really believe him. But boom, bang, bada, bing, man. And it looks like Boloyski and Belarski and Hades. It looks like 3 import players, right? You can see the silhouettes of these players here as it plays again. Geek Fam, are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's oh my, like these are the players that everyone's been asking. Everyone's like, oh, Dolarski is going to join either BTR or EVOS. Beloyski, not many rumors about where he is going, but now it's it. Like Hades as well.
Yeah,
These players are insane, man.
We were talking about how you're only allowed to like field 2 at a time. So
Yeah.
this is overkill from the side of Geek Fam, right? We know that they have always had like issues with their affinity roster, right? Throughout the entirety of season, they just to find, I don't know, a grasp on like how they want to play essentially, especially with Ren V just moving around, right? So I guess it makes sense that it get like a solid, I think it's a solid part of the roster. But again, 3, they can only use like 2 of those at a time. So this will be a secret weapon kind of deal. You know, they'll field 2 people, one for those, those intense moments where they just need that X factor, maybe.
Oh my bad, guys. The meat. I'm so sorry, guys. I am so sorry. The video should not have been emitting sound. My bad, man. My bad. God. Oh man. This is the pilot episode when things like this happens, guys. Okay, so I'm so sorry. Arashi, can you just recap what you did because the vid was apparently too loud. I'm very sorry, guys. I'm very sorry. I forgot.
Pilot episodes, guys.
Pilot episodes. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Right, so we're talking about how, like, in season 9, the constant commentary from the casters, from the analysts, it's always how Geek Fam seems to just be so random, right? Especially with Ren V just moving around, they just seem to not really find the exact way they want to like set up their team, essentially, right? Their roster. So now with 3 imports, is this going to be a situation where there'll be one person saved as a secret weapon kind of deal? Because we've seen Geek Fam just keep players in as subs, and they don't really see a lot of screen time. So. I'm not quite sure how this is going to work, or if they're going to like constantly switch them out. Because obviously, if you want to field 2 members constantly and keep one, that player is going to get less practice with everyone else. He's going to get less experience. He's going to be having a different experience compared to the other 2 players. So is this overkill from Geek Fam to get 3, not just 2? Considering the rule we just mentioned earlier was in place, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like if they do get 3, it's gonna be really insane, right? Like, because one of them will have to be a bench warmer. Yeah, one of them will have to be a bench warmer sometime in the season. There's also something very interesting in chat because I've just been hearing in the comments section, everyone's just like, oh yeah, it's Beloyski. I think the Beloyski picture is like his silhouette is very. You know it's Beloyski, right? The Dolarski one as well. But the last one, is it Hades? Is it Kelra? Because if it's Kelra, oh my goodness, man. I mean, yeah. Again, it's Kelra. Look at the pose of that one player. I'm looking at it, and now I see it. I didn't see it earlier, but honestly, yeah. If Kelra's in here, oh my god. If Kelra comes to Indo, and this is just amazing because Geek Fam. Let's talk about Geek Fam while we're on this note, right? On this topic. They haven't found success. They haven't made it to the playoffs for 6 seasons, I believe now, right? Is it 6 or 5? It's 5 or 6 seasons, guys.
It's a long time.
It's a long time to not make it to the playoffs. And with this, let's say it's true. Kelra, Beloyski, and Dolarski joins Geek Fam. Let's say they become strong. Who's not going to make it to the playoffs? Dude, this season is going to be insane. I'm telling you guys, all right? I said it. I kind of teased it already with my stories. I told you guys that the transfer rumors are getting crazy. Get prepared. Be prepared because you guys are going to be mind blown. And this is what I'm talking about. Geek Fam, imagine from 8th place, 0 wins if they go on to win M4 after that. That's going to be a crazy storyline, right? Again, they're going to have to fix a lot of things. I don't think, again, the Filipino players coming in, yes, they're going to add a different level to Geek Fam. They're going to, be better for sure. But how's the synergy going to work out? And where are the other players? There's only 2 that can be played in the game. So the remaining 3, will it still be the previous roster that we saw in Season 9 that didn't perform that well? Or are they going to go and find new Indonesian players as well to just, to match with these other Filipino players?
Especially because, like, speaking of Geek Fam, right? As we mentioned earlier, we're always so confused with how they're just moving people around. And a lot of times when they lose, especially when the loss is just really, very brutal defeat, we keep mentioning how it seems like there's a bit of a miscommunication, right? There seems to be a lack of synergy. Like, I still recall that there's one game where Randy was making huge plays, but his team just wasn't able to capitalize. So considering that synergy is the concern, will bringing players from overseas actually add to the problem, or will it actually solve it?
Yeah.
Right? Because if you're talking about synergy, right, maybe they should have imported the coach instead of players, as we were talking about earlier.
Exactly. It's just gonna be it's gonna be crazy, guys. This season's gonna be crazy. Oh, and to add on to that, a lot of these rosters are gonna be revealed very soon. I'm pretty sure that RQ is gonna reveal their roster in their season 10 roster on the 9th of July. They're actually gonna do a meet and greet for the fans, literally across from my apartment.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Literally across my apartment, they're gonna do a meet and greet, and that's where they're gonna reveal the roster. So I might just go over there to just say hi to the boys, But yeah, this is gonna be insane. This is really gonna be insane. Oh, Naisu brought up a very interesting topic: caster imports next. Arashi, would you be willing?
Blacklist?
Would you be willing, Arashi, to move over to the Philippines to cast?
That's a weird tangent.
Yeah.
Honestly, if it's worth it, right? I mean, I don't know how comfortable anyone is to leave their country and live in a different country. That's a huge investment, and I think a lot of people who say like, "Oh, I want to move here," you never really know that you'll be comfortable there unless you've lived there for like a year or two, because a lot of people they just move to, let's say, come on, it's Japan, right? People say like, "Oh yeah, I like anime. I want to move to Japan."
Where are the subtitles, man?
Yeah, you live there. Where's the subtitles? Like, why is life so boring? Why is it so autonomous, right? Because you don't see the whole of the country just when you don't live there. So once you go there, there's questions about how comfortable you are. If there are caster transfers, though, that would be quite insane, right?
Yeah.
Because I think the competition from organizations compared to like, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Dragon Wolf, for the 10K. That's an OI P. Thank you so much, man. But yeah, Rashi, keep going, man. Dragon Wolf, thanks for the donation, man. 10K. But speaking of comfort, Arashi, Naisu wants to give you that homey feeling. He's already saying, "Don't worry, Arashi, I'll give you a hug. Do you want a hug or do you not? Do you want a hug or not?"
I mean, hugs are always nice. It's normal hug, right?
Naisu.
Like,
What's a
Mirko,
normal
you
hug?
met
What do
the
you
guy.
think?
Is this a normal-
What's a normal
is this
hug,
code?
Arashi?
Is this code for something?
Oh my god.
I mean, everyone likes hugs,
Mm-hmm.
If you ever get to Indo, we'll give you hugs.
Hey, speaking of Indo, Arashi, now it's a very good segue to the next topic, Arashi. Was that planned, Arashi? Was that planned?
No, I don't remember what's next.
You don't remember what's next?
Just
Well,
pilot things.
Arashi, there's something very, very interesting to note, right? When you're talking about M4, when you're talking about Indo, boom, bang, bada, bing. Let's talk about this, guys, because I've seen a lot of people in chat as well talking about this, being like, "Oh, yo, Mirko, talk about M4, man. Where is it going to be, man?" Well, there it is, boys. This is obviously not confirmed. This is a rumor. This is from Spin Esports, by the way. Shout out. I'm using your picture because it's pretty cool. But yeah, the location rumor for M4 is Indo, right? There are a few rumors saying that it's like going to be in another place as well, but we're going to be talking about this because this is the one that's blowing up. What are your thoughts, man? Speaking of giving Naisu a hug in Indo, it might happen, bro. It might happen.
I mean, first off, like I haven't been to any. I haven't went overseas for any international events. I think Eterna and Mirko has had that experience at this point. I haven't, so if I can get to meet the guys I've been seeing on screen for so much, I think that'll be cool, right? Something I'm very much looking forward to. And of course, if it's in Indo, right, M4, I mean, it's a great Indo pride moment, so I don't have anything against it. But at the same time, I am wondering if the idea for the location, are they trying to get the place with the most people? Because obviously Philippines and Indonesia qualify for that. Or are they trying to get, what do you call it, like more attention to the less prominent regions? Because that is also something that organizers do when they're planning out like locations, right? Because if like, let's say they do one, well, they've done Malaysia, and let's say for as an example, they just go to Cambodia, for example, right?
Ooh.
The Mobile Legends like scene in Cambodia is going to see a huge resurgence, and that might be, something of a plan. So I am wondering what is the idea behind the location selection. But if it's in Indonesia, I think it's pretty solid, dude.
Yeah. I mean, hey, thank you so much for another 10K. What do you think if Dalar will be part of RRQ? Oh, okay, Agung, thank you so much for the 10K. Now, since you donated, we'll talk about this, right? What do you think, Arashi, if Delar joins RRQ instead of Geek Fam or BTR or Evos? Oh, another one.
They've been.
Oh, okay, man. Thanks for donating 10K. You're playing golf. Have fun, buddy. Hopefully you keep on watching. Yeah, put your AirPods in or whatever you're using to listen, because there are going to be a lot of spicy topics here. But yeah, Arashi, back to the topic. Delarski, what if he joins RRQ?
Considering they've been talking a lot about how the new RRQ, right, has been so synergized. There's a lot of chemistry. I think there was a post.
Dari Alan.
Hey, Arashi, they just don't want you to talk, man. Thank you so much, Alan D. Once again, 25,000 rupiah. Yo, Mirko, your smile got me bricked up. What's bricked up mean?
I have no idea.
Thank
what do
you,
do
man.
with their donations? They just stop. They just pause.
Well, when they're donations, you can go at it or you could pause, Arashi. It's you
Right.
just go
My
with the flow, man. Yeah. Thank you so much for the 25K, man. But Awashi Hoshi? Yeah,
I think I
speaking
was
of RRQ,
seeing,
yeah. RRQ
Yeah,
Hoshi.
there was a statement from Sin, I believe, where he was talking that the current team is just so synergized. They're just so
Yeah.
in sync that it's even he feels he feels kind of bad if he has to actually jump in and replace someone. So considering that's how they feel, RQ seems to be very much united right now. I'm not sure if bringing in another external force will be necessary. I think they just have to brush up on the stuff that they've been having issues with, and maybe the flexibility, right? The plan Bs, plan Cs, and I think they'll be pretty good. RQ is one of my favorite teams, so.
It is his
RRQ.
favorite Indonesian team. Yeah, so RRQ, Arashi, dude, it's just perfect. Arashi Hoshi, and he's a fan of RRQ, right? But yeah, there you go, guys. From an RRQ fan himself, that's what he thinks about Delar joining RRQ. But yeah, in the chat, Hatred ML. Delar respects R7. He said he wants to join RRQ, but he said that R7 is better than him, and he is Delar's idol. So again, right, there's going to be a lot of these moment scenarios, maybe perhaps to come through in the upcoming years, because there are going to be a lot of idols who need to be replaced, right? Again, there is going to be an age limit, an age cap to the skill levels of these players. At some point, they're going to get too old, perhaps, to react in the same way as the young guns in the building, right? It's just an esports thing here.
Mirko,
Yeah.
Kilo Ghost says bricked up means you're right.
Bricked up being what? Oh, okay. Yo, nice. Do I keep smiling or do I stop smiling now? I don't know, man. But yeah, thank you for the donation. Anyways, M4 rumor to Indo. I do want to say this. If it is actually going to be in Indo, this is going to be insane, because I'm pretty sure that Moonton, there's no way they get because in Singapore and in Malaysia, they get they get a convention center, right? They use a place in the convention center to have the tournament, to have MSC, to have M2 and M3. Because of COVID, right? Because of COVID, there's still restrictions on the audience, the crowd, and attendance. But now, if let's hope COVID is no longer an issue, or maybe just it's not as dangerous as it was back in M3 and back in MSC, and we are allowed to actually have big crowds. I think it's going to be a stadium. There's no way that convention centers will be able to hold the Indonesian Indonesians are crazy about MLBB, if you guys don't know, and we have a whole lot of people who are willing to 100% watch it, right? So there's going to be a big demand for watching M4 if it is indeed in Indonesia, and we're going to have to see a stadium. So we're finally going to see MLBB in a stadium. That's what I feel. I think if it's in Indonesia or in Philippines, 100% confirmed stadium, right? If COVID is also not a problem, 100% it'll be a stadium. No? Yeah?
I think so. I mean, what better event to actually bring out the stadium game than the international competition, right? And for sure, I think the atmosphere in a stadium is just going to be just so much different. The fact that everyone's just there, and the layout is meant for I don't know, for cheering, for hype. I think it's going to be insane for everyone involved, man. I think for the players, it's going to be a different experience. For the casters, I'm kind of nervous thinking about casting with that big of an audience. That sounds just completely insane.
Yeah, and guess what? In Indonesia, someone in the chat, Punchable Face, he just said it. JIS, Jakarta International Stadium, has just been wrapped up. Right? Jakarta International Stadium is now available. So let's say this is actually going to be in Indonesia. Will they use the new FIFA regulated stadium? That's insane. FIFA regulated stadium for esports. Now that's gonna be a headline everywhere. Everywhere. Let's say if they do it, right? Because JIS is supposed to be where Justin Bieber performs. He was about to perform here until obviously, there was something complications. And BTS, I think, as well. But these are just big bands. These are crazy bands. And obviously, the FIFA World Cup in 2040 or 2050, I forgot when, is also going to be held in Indonesia in the stadium. That's why they made it. Man, come on, man. Come on. This is going to be crazy. Can you imagine the atmosphere, my G? The atmosphere of a stadium. I'm going to Google it. JIS capacity, right? How? 82,000 people. Oh my God, dude, that sounds crazy.
I can't even imagine the amount of people like that number. Like I can't have a visualization. That doesn't sound real.
Yeah. Oh my God, guys. Well, if oh man, yeah, I'm it doesn't need to be 82,000 people. In Malaysia, it was like I think it was max 1,000. I might be wrong. It might be less than 1,000, but you guys can already hear. You can already hear the craziness in the arena. If it's in the Philippines, if it's in Indonesia, sold out M4 confirmed. 100% it'll be sold out, man. Everyone wants a piece of it, right? And I want to, dude. If I'm not casting, I'll buy a ticket. I'll buy a ticket just to watch it on the stands, bro. It's. I think even if. Let's say, right, you live in the Philippines, you live in Indonesia, and you're not a fan of MLBB. But if you hear that there's gonna be an esports tournament held in your country, you're gonna go and watch. You're gonna if you're a fan of any esports, let's say other MOBAs, other FPSs, you want a piece of the pie, right? You want to just experience watching an esports title live in your home country in a stadium.
Yeah, the fact that it's in a stadium, right? You can just for like experience points,
Yeah.
basically.
Exactly. Okay, nice. There you go. You confirmed it. 700 people was at MSC. Imagine 700 and was that loud. Imagine, we're gonna break like ears. Get ready, right? Get your AirPods out. Get your your ears are not gonna be safe. But speaking of M4 World Championships, this is gonna be very interesting because do you think they're gonna add more slots for the countries? Let's say, because right now there is a rumor going on circulating that the host country will get an additional team to represent, and it might be the previous champions who gets that slot as well. So it really depends, either the host or the previous champions. If it was the previous champions, then maybe PH might be the ones to get the third slot, another slot to defend their title, or the host nation. What do you think about that? What do you think? Like, should they do that?
Extra slots, huh? I think that more factors always mean for more unexpected surprises. So I think it will be great, no issue. But I am concerned about like how exactly it's gonna work out in the scheduling, right? Because I think right now everything is being planned with the tried and true schedule in plan with the brackets and everything. So if they change it too much, it might have repercussions we don't see right now. So I think there could be exciting, interesting like developments with that idea. I do think that if they want to do it, they make sure they actually iron out all the possibilities first, though, because the last thing you want it's M4, everyone's waiting for it. It might be one of the most hyped M series yet, right? Where Indonesia can try and get revenge, Philippines can assert dominance yet again, all these possibilities, and it's in Indonesia, it's in a stadium. Let's not have any kind of like issues with like scheduling, because that would be just a nightmare, dude.
Let's just not have any issues, period, right? Because like I said, this is gonna be if it is gonna be in Indonesia, this is something that they're going to have to be tight about, right? Security, I feel like, needs to be very tight. Because we know, this has happened in the past in football matches back in the day. When an Indonesian team plays, Indonesians are very passionate about football, about anything that when they get into it, they're really passionate. They love their teams, literally sometimes to death, right? They love their teams. So that might be a concern that some of the Filipinos have in the chat. I see it. That might be a concern of maybe me as well as an Indonesian, right? What if, let's say, Indo in the finals, they lose against whoever it is? But that's something that we need to yeah, we just that's something that we need to handle properly. I hope there's not going to be any problems with that. Hopefully it all goes smoothly. Amen for sure. But yeah, it's yeah, that definitely could be something that, yeah, it's something to definitely something to think about.
Absolutely. We do have a notorious like football fan like culture, right? So I do believe that like I don't know, we would as a whole, right? Indonesians would understand that in the grand scheme of things, it's still a win for everyone involved. Even if their favorite team doesn't win, right? The fact that we're having such a great event in our country, it's still a moment to be proud of for Indonesians. So I really believe and hope that nothing of that kind of nothing like that will happen. But of course, better safe than sorry. So I think the organizers need to actually be very very careful in how they want to arrange this, how they want to set up the entrances, right, and the exits, just in case, because that's usually where all the trouble begins. Because you were telling me about this earlier, not earlier, but like a few days ago, Mirko, the football situation when there was like conflict at the entrance. Let's not have something like that, right? That would be just awful.
Yeah. Hopefully it all goes to plan. But now, actually, this is the final the final topic that I want to talk about at M4, right? And this is something that maybe Moonton might be listening in to as well, because this is very interesting. You know how in MLBB tournaments, whatever it is, when it comes to the international tournaments, it's always the English broadcast that gets the English broadcast that gets put on the speakers of the stadium, of the arena, right? But if it's in the Philippines, then there's no problem. It's gonna be English again, because most Filipinos also understand English, so English will be fine as the language that you put into the speakers into the arena. But if it's in Indonesia, right? I spoke about this to Naisu. I spoke about this to Gideon as well. I think just a lot of the casters in MSC, and I even asked one of the script writers for MSC. I was like, so how is this going to play out? If it is going to be in Indo, right? How is it going to be broadcasted? Like, obviously, it's still going to be the main broadcast, English, but I think the Indonesian broadcast is going to be the one that's blasted on the speakers. Because, yeah, I think if you want to generate more revenue, they got to understand, right?
Right.
But again, I can see that like there's going to be a lot of fans that are flying over to watch this tournament. If it's in Indonesian, then they can't understand. So there's that dilemma right now. There's a dilemma going on maybe, right? If it's in Indo, do you want it to be English in the speakers or Indonesian in the speakers?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a hard question. I think they go English. There's plenty of Indonesians in Indonesia who understand English. There's a lot that don't, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think there's still a lot. And considering it's an international event, right? I think it's only right that we go with English, because then the possibilities with all the other countries coming in, they also will understand like the live broadcast, because worst case scenario for the Indonesians, they can just stay home and like watch the Indonesian broadcast if they really, really can't handle the English. So I think English will be the way to go, but obviously there are other factors that the organizers need to, Moonton and the organizers need to actually, consider before they make a decision.
Yeah,
I hope it's English though.
I same. As an English caster, I hope it's gonna be English as well. I want to hear my voice, broadcasted. Dude, if it's in a stadium again, it's gonna be leaking out of stadium, right? And I want everyone to listen to my voice, bro. Everyone just listen. But yeah, lots of people flying in for M4 for sure. Yeah, again, a lot of people flying in for M4. If it's in Indo, if it's in Philippines, there's still gonna be a lot of people who flies over to watch. So that's a dilemma right now. It'll be unfair if it's Bahasa. Some people in the chat are saying that. I agree, because as an international viewer, if you come over, you want to watch it, right? You'd be like, it's an international event. I want to hear it in English. But it all depends, because I feel like, again, yes, a majority of the people who are watching in the stadium will be Indonesian, right? I think that's a guarantee, because in Malaysia as well, MSC, most of the viewers, most of the audience in attendance, they were Malaysian, because it's held in Malaysia. They don't really have to travel that far. They don't need to fly over unless they live in certain parts of Malaysia and they need to fly to Kuala Lumpur. But yeah, you see what I'm trying to say? Let's see, let's hear, it's still a long way from happening. So I think right now it's a good time to swap the topics, right? We've spoken about M4. It's a very interesting topic, but let's talk about MPL ID and PH. All right, MPL ID and PH season 10, because there's gonna be a lot of storylines, different storylines going on, and there's obviously a lot of hype that's surrounding both of these regions right now. One, because of their international success, their dominant, they're just dominant run so far in the past 2 years. PH winning everything, and Indonesia for the crazy imports that are going on that might just change might just change maybe stop the Filipino dynasty. So do we want to talk? Let's talk about PH. Let's talk about PH first, right? We'll end it with Indo. Talk about PH first. MPL PH Season 10. Blacklist International. They are back with their full roster. VYs is back, ladies and gentlemen. Echo are looking as hungry as ever. I think every team are looking very hungry. Like every team in PH, they are hungry for that title. Echo, TNC, NXPE, all these teams, they're going to go all out for that M4 slot, for that trophy. And Arashi, what are your thoughts, man? Because Blacklist versus RSG, this is going to be a match. This is going to be an insane match.
Right, because whenever Blacklist was dominant, right, the narrative I generally hear from the majority of our casters, again, this is just like what I hear, right, is that, yeah, they're really good, but they also have a very one-dimensional strategy.
Oops.
It's just that the execution is impeccable from Blacklist, right?
Uh-huh.
Just go with the ultimate bonding experience. I think it's almost a slogan. Like people are proud of it at this point, and it's very effective. But considering everyone's been talking again about how you can't be one-dimensional anymore. You know, you have to be flexible. You have to have options, and you have to adapt really fast and very well in games when at the current stage, at the current level of professional Mobile Legends. So maybe Blacklist will have difficulties if they don't have those other plans. You know, but obviously we haven't seen them go up against the rest. VYs is notorious at this point. You know, they're an infamous combo. So I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, there's not much to say there.
Yeah.
For me, at least.
PH is definitely going to be crazier, right? I feel like Season 9 was already like kind of peak because, again, every team was competitive. You know, the last place team was able to get a victory against the first place team in the regular season and so on. So in PH, it's always been competitive. I feel like Season 9 was them at their most competitive. And I think it's just going to be even crazier here with Blacklist returning to their former, quote-unquote, former glory, right? Their former glorious roster. Maybe they'll succeed. Maybe they'll not. They won't. Maybe RSG have just grown that much. Bren as well. Bren, according to many, Bren is very strong in scrims, etc. So it's going to be really interesting to see PH. It's going to be very interesting to see how they develop as well. You know, because there's going to be a big patch rumored to be released on September. In September, so that's also going to be a big patch. What are we going to see from the new patch, right? Are we going to see the meta shift over back to the assassins? I mean, to the marksman maybe in the jungler, back in Season 7, or will we still see the same assassin meta that's currently doing really well in the patch? That's something that we need to talk about. But let's switch over, right? Because we've already spoken about PH. You want to add anything else, Arashi, to PH Season 10?
Well, what meta is prevalent, I think, will have a huge impact on how they're supposed to be playing as well, right? Because we talked about the difference in different preferences and how they play in Philippines and Indonesia. So I think we have to see what kind of patch comes out as well. Because, for example, for you, Mirko, like you seem to be having a blast
I'm
with
having
the current
fun.
patch, right?
Mhm.
Exactly. So maybe the patch will actually, if the patch becomes the deciding factor on like who wins, that'll be pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. So there you go. That's for PH, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's move over to Malaysia. Now, this is a country that I forgot about just now. I'm so sorry, DJY. Thanks for reminding me, man. I just put ID and PH because I was thinking, right, Season 10. I want to talk about the regions who've hit Season 10. PH, ID. I thought about Malaysia, but I just forgot to add it in the stream. So, Malaysia. Let's talk about Malaysia right now. And this is actually where this is kind of a hot take from me, right? This is a hot take from me about MPL Malaysia right now. As it stands, I feel like they might go to M4 weaker than the teams that went to MSC, you know? I feel like the teams that are going to go from, going to qualify from Malaysia to M4 are going to be weaker than the teams that qualify to MSC. Because of multiple reasons, but I'm just going to be talking about the top two teams, right? Let's talk about the MSC teams, Orange Esports and Todak. Let's talk about these two teams because I feel like, well, Todak, they're always going to be the top, you know. Right now, MPL Malaysia, it's always just Todak. If they don't win, they're always second place. They're always there. They're always representing Malaysia in every international tournament. So let's talk about them first. Chiku is getting tired. He's been feeling tired for 2 years now. He said that he was tired back at M2. And yeah, this is already spread out news. I think everyone knows about it. Chiku has been pretty vocal about this, that he might want to retire soon, right? And if he does, he's the identity of MPL Malaysia. He is the identity of MPL Malaysia, right? Not MPL Malaysia. He's the identity of Todak. Without Chiku, it feels like this team is going to lose a lot. It's going to be a huge impact towards everyone. And right now, I already feel like they've constantly been up and down sometimes, you know? Yeah, and Chiku apparently, like, he wants to get married as well, so that might just stop him from, that just might add on to the reasons as to why he wants to retire. That's a big thing. If Todak loses out on Chiku, who's going to replace him? Who's going to replace the guy who's just been here for so long, who's so experienced, but still is able to compete in the mechanical level of every region, like on top?
Yeah, I mean, I keep saying I feel like that's really weird.
I mean,
yeah, being a pro player is a very serious investment. I think you were talking about this on your stream as well. It's like constant, like you wake up, you eat, and then you play the whole day, and you go back to sleep, rinse and repeat. After 2 years, if he's been saying it for 2 years, that's a long time to even still like be around.
Yeah.
So in esports terms, right? 2 years is a very, very long time. But on the same note, though, like if he does retire, there's a chance for Malaysia to actually find prodigies in their own region, right? So maybe that'll be cool. Maybe there's a spark that Malaysia will need to try and change things up, find new strats, find, I don't know, new rosters that will just take the fight to the other region. Yeah. Maybe.
And the thing is, right? Hopefully, right? And I say this as well. I really hope that Chiku doesn't retire. I love to see him play. The way he plays the game is so different from everyone else. He just goes in guns blazing. He's big balls, basically, right? He's big balls, bro. He just goes in. He doesn't care. He goes in for the crazy fights. He plays the marksman like assassins, and it still works. So hopefully you stay, Chiku. Hopefully you do. I want to see more from you. I want to see you maybe lift the trophy. Honestly, right? At this point, he's basically the Lemon and Wrecked of Malaysia. He's the GOAT there. He's the face currently of MPL Malaysia. I think if anyone is talking about MPL Malaysia, they're gonna be talking about Todak and Chiku, right? Both those, the team and the player. But hopefully he doesn't retire. Hopefully it does all go well, and maybe Todak comes out even stronger in the patch in September, and maybe in M4 they can win it all. But now let's talk about Orange Esports, the second team that was able to qualify to MSC. Now, I didn't know this, by the way. I did not know this, but apparently Min and Man, they were loaned out to Orange. So they're not actually Orange players. They were just loan players. So now they're going back to their team, which is going to be playing in the qualifiers for MPL Malaysia. So they're going to already lose 2 members in their team. That was, I think, one of the big reasons they were able to make it that far in MSC. One of the big reasons they were able to make it to MSC at all. Min and Man was insane. Min and Man literally, I feel like, was the identity of Orange Esports, right? The plays came from either Min or Man. Even though, yes, the shot calling came from Valens, but Min and Man were the ones to make the moments happen.
Right. I mean, you wouldn't be aware of this because you weren't casting in the Indo side. I had the honor of having a 1 day on the Indo broadcast because I'm an English caster mainly, right? But we were specifically told that, like, hey, make sure you highlight Min and Man. There's this like contrasting twin buff between like Bigatron, what used to be Bigatron and Orange, right? There's the twin buff, and they're actually doing even better, and their roles are actually very much I don't know, they work around each other in the game as well. So yeah, it was one of the main things we were meant to highlight from Orange. So knowing that they're loaned out players, that's kind of interesting. I wasn't aware of that either.
Because they've been notorious for like just swapping out their entire roster, right? Every time their roster doesn't perform in the international stage, they go back to MPL Malaysia and they revamp their entire roster, except Min and Man. Min and Man were the only ones who were there, throughout everything, most of it. it's been Min and Man who've stayed in that mid and tank position. So with them leaving now, it's gonna be different. It's gonna be very different, right? The identity of that squad. I'm seeing the chat. Someone's already like, hey, 3 of them are actually gonna be leaving out of Orange. 3 gonna be leaving. Yeah, so that's crazy. Yeah, that's why I feel like Malaysia, they might be weaker in M4 compared to the teams that participate in MSC, because I feel like right now MSC team Malaysia was pretty strong, right? I think M3 was still the peak. Peak Todak was M3. They were really good at M3. But yeah, that's that. Those are my thoughts for Malaysia. Talking about the other teams, I feel like SMG will be strong in Malaysia.
SMG.
James is back. Full-time coach now, I'm pretty sure, right? Because he had SEA Games, so he wasn't really like fully crazy focused on SMG, because he had to he was the coach of Indonesia in SEA Games. But now he's the coach of SMG, and I think he's gonna go all out for SMG, right? So let's see if SMG can do it. I think SMG are currently the favorites with Todak to win MPL Malaysia. Homeboys as well. Yeah, there's just a lot of teams, and that's why it's still very interesting to me about MPL Malaysia. MPL Malaysia is still very interesting to me because of the qualifying. Like, it's still a qualifiers, right? There's still a qualifiers for it. It's not a franchise league yet, so teams. Yeah, I mean, anyone could participate, basically, right? If they're good enough, you can make it to the MPL. So hopefully we'll see some team new from the qualifiers that will become a champion, maybe, perhaps, right? Because I think Malaysia needs that too, right? Aside from Indonesia, who needs a new champion, I think Malaysia needs a new champion too.
Yep, I mean, you need changes to make sure that make sure that the teams don't stagnate. Because once it becomes like a routine, right? That's never good. You know, you always want to have like wild cards and surprises. That's a sign of a competitive region as well, right? When like anyone can actually end up on top. That is where you, as a viewer, you always be constantly like wondering like, okay, who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? If you already know who's gonna win, in a way, it gets kind of boring.
Yeah. That's something that might change here throughout all the regions, because there's just a lot going on. But finally, let's talk about the big boy in the building for us, because we're Indonesian. We have the most. We talk about Indonesia the most here because obviously we're Indonesians. We have a lot more info about the Indonesian teams. We have a lot more resources regarding the MPL Indo side. So yeah, let's talk about MPL Indo now. Big bang, the big crazy bang that is the imported players, etc. But now let's talk about the greater picture, the bigger picture, Arashi. Let's not talk about just the players, the imported players. Let's talk about the teams in general here. Because since MPL ID started in Season 4, since MPL started to become a franchise league in Season 4, there are only 3 champions. RQ, EVOS, and Onyx. These are the 3 champions that it's just been cycled over. EVOS, RQ, Onyx, RQ, EVOS. Will we see a new champion? Question mark.
Well, I hope we do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I like RRQ, they're there, you know. I mean, there's a lot of other teams that are very solid. Like they play well and they have a huge following as well. So potential of like new champions with a lot of support, a lot of like backing behind them. You know, we talk about the Uncrowned Kings, Alter Ego, right? For example, we're always talking about them finally claiming what they kind of deserve, right? Even in the last season when it was really close between them and Evos. So I really think that new champions will be cool. Will be a good change for the scene as well. Of course, we have to see whether these player imports work, right? Because right now, like this next season will actually prove if that meta of like importing good players will actually work. And in a way, we haven't clearly stated if we are for it or not. We've just been stating the pros and cons. But if you're for the import meta, right, then you would want to hope that these teams don't do well, because then that would set a trend almost, which may or may not be good, you know, depending on the situation.
Absolutely. And for me, right, there's a lot of people who are like saying, oh yeah, Aura Fire, oh yeah, Geek Fam, Rebellion. Who do you want to see as like a new champion, Arashi? Who are you going to be supporting? The team, you have to pick the team who hasn't won MPL though, all right? You have to pick a team amongst the teams who haven't won an MPL. Who do you think and why? And I'll answer 2 after you.
Tough situation, huh?
It is.
Can you pick 2?
You want to pick 2? Sure, yeah. But just give your reason. Give your reason for it.
I already mentioned Alter Ego, right? Because that is the first thing that comes to mind, and they were kind of close. I mean, us on the desk, we were kind of teary eyed when
Yeah.
they were actually kicked out. You know, it was a very emotional moment.
Yeah, it was
So
sad to
there's
see.
that, and on the other side, I think there will be plenty of people supporting Aura to be the next champions, right? Because they've been
It's got a
doing
lot
really
of fans.
well.
Yeah.
Exactly. They just like because it's just so contrast how the performance from before to now, right? If you just compare it, it's just almost like a completely different team. So I think a lot of people are rallying behind that, and they have what it takes to get to the to be the champion, man. So I think those two will be very, I don't know, very interesting, very amazing for for Indonesian MPL.
All right. So Alter Ego and Aura Fire for Arashi. For me, I think it's pretty obvious, guys. I think it's pretty obvious. BTR. I'm rooting for BTR, right?
Wow,
you guys
BTR,
know.
really?
Wow, god damn, Mirko BTR, damn, that's
fuck?
new, yeah. But no, yeah, I think if it's not BTR though, I do agree with Arashi, but I only agree with one of the teams that Arashi mentioned. I feel like if it's not BTR, it's gonna be Alter Ego. Actually, this meta fits Selly Boy, man. This is the time. This is the time for Selly Boy
yes.
to pop off, and I am all for it, man. I hope they get to pop off because I think for the longest time BTR, yes, I've been rooting for them for since I joined, since season 7, but if it's not BTR, it's always like Alter Ego. Right, but I don't know why. I really like Alter Ego. Every time Alter Ego and BTR face off against each other, it's always fun. And Alter Ego, this team, it's very interesting because I didn't like start liking them because of their performances. Their performances are good, but like I'm not. Yeah, that wasn't what caught the attention. What caught my attention? What caught my attention is the fact that they're just so solid, right? They always work together, and they're so. Well, let me read this out. Joe Mama, thank you, man. Lit content needed weekly. We are gonna be doing this weekly, by the way. All right, we're gonna try to do it weekly because obviously, when MPL starts, it's gonna be tough to manage that. But we'll try to do it weekly, every single week, to keep you guys up to date with the news. But yeah, let's talk about Alter Ego again. Solid team, very solid players, and they're very wholesome, very solid, right? You saw, I think when you watch the match against Evos, they were down 2-0. They came back, and they shook Nino. Sunny Boy shook Nino. I think everyone knows this as well. When they lost because of the pie pause incident, they all grouped up. Even the manager came out. They all hugged, and they weren't sad. I mean, some of them were crying, but like, they always comfort each other, you know how some teams, when they lose, that's it, right? You see them and they're always like, yeah, they're alone. Maybe they just want some time alone, maybe that. But Alter Ego, they always stay together. That's something, that's an identity, honestly, from Alter Ego. That's their identity. They have amazing players, honestly. I feel like with this roster and this meta, Nino's gonna pop off. With the tank meta coming back, Leo Murphy might be going full Cho mode again, like back in the M2 days. And Selly Boy, I want to see Selly Boy pop off. He has the girlfriend buff now. Selly Boy has the girlfriend buff. Selly Boy.
Is it a buff though?
Oh man, is it a buff? Is it a buff? That's a question. Well, Albert, when he got a girlfriend, right? He won season 9. So
Right.
it's a buff. It's sometimes a nerf, but yeah, it depends on the player, I guess. But I feel like for Selly Boy, everyone's always been calling him Selly Boy the sad boy. Now he's no longer the sad boy. He's Selly Boy the happy boy, man. So I think he's gonna pop off. Oh! 100K from DJ Y. I'm so glad seeing Damage Jungle meta back. I do not want to see. Yeah, exactly, bro. This is a great point, DJ Y. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for 100K. Insane, but yeah. It's so interesting. It's so interesting because guess what? The players who are going to be playing in MPL ID, Kyrie, honestly at this point, let's just say Kabuki too, Selly Boy, Albert, Fairsick, everyone. If Hades comes in, then Hades as well. But all the junglers, they're going to... Oh, this is going to be a crazy season, bro. BTR, I don't know who their jungle is. That's why I haven't mentioned it, right? It might be Max again. It might not be Max. So that's why I haven't mentioned. And Rebellion as well. I don't know. I don't know who's going to be the jungle. Because I've heard a lot of rumors for Rebellion as well that like Jisa might not be playing in the jungle. So again, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. As of right now, I'm going to be mentioning the ones that I know. But Jisa, if he goes back to the jungle now that the Assassin meta is back, Jisa is insane. Jisa is crazy. He is a crazy Indonesian talent, and he will perform for sure if it goes back to the assassin meta, and if it stays there. But yeah,
Yeah.
assassin meta Indonesia, we're gonna see a lot of fire for sure, and I just can't wait. I just can't wait. Yeah, it's weird seeing Albert and Sally Boy on Baxia jungle. I agree, bro. Especially Sally Boy. Like Albert, he's very adaptive. So he just whatever you need him to play, he'll play as long as it wins him games, right? But Sally Boy is like, what the? What is Baxia? Yo, give me that Karina, fam. You know, because I think he was the only one who was like, Karina, that's it.
Yeah, I think India as a whole, initially we're just a very aggressive like region, right? So all the junglers, they're all like, none of the junglers made it big playing like tanks, right? So it's just a weird look. I mean, like people like Fairsick, you know, whenever he's on Assassin, we see him like pop off, and if he's using a tank, it's just like not so impressive. So I think it's very cool, and we're gonna see again resurgence in these jungle players. But as Mirko mentioned, I think the camaraderie that Alter Ego shows just like resonates well with the people and with the fan base as well. You know, a lot of people are very impressed with how they are acting as a team, right? How solid they are. And I don't know. When it comes to being adaptive, by the way, I think Mirko can vouch for this. But I've always said that Coach Nasiuduk has always been like a more the way he approaches the game seems very problem solving. Like I think I've mentioned this before on the desk as well. So I think it's really good. I think if they actually I don't know, if they iron out a lot of the mistakes and like play solidly the way they did, they can do really well. And speaking of the assassin meta, the aggressive meta, right? I think they were one of the only teams who went with the full that you know that game. I think it was against Evos as well, where they went full aggressive, and you know if they don't end the game fast, they will lose, and it just absolutely ended the game.
Alter Ego, right? Yeah.
Alter Ego, yeah.
And
I really like. I've always been on the opinion that like if you play it perfectly, the early game will always win against the late game, essentially, because late game needs time, right? And the early game is always there, provided they don't make any mistakes. So I wish you can see more of that gameplay, because I recall we only saw it like
the
once
gambling
or twice.
gameplay, yeah? We gamble on the early game.
If you can do it well enough, it's not a gamble, man. I'm just saying.
True.
If you can pull it off the way Alter Ego did, like when Evos was turtling, just playing as safe as possible, they just like went under the tower, flanked from like 3 different directions, man. There was just no structure. It's just full send. I think it's a very exciting game plan, game style. Whether or not it can be effective in the next season, we'll have to see. But I really enjoy watching it at least.
Absolutely.
So,
for sure. I do want to like clarify one thing though. The global ban pick thing is only for MDL as of right now. We haven't had information if it's going to be an MPL as well. I'm pretty sure, right? There's no way. Yeah, I don't think it's. Let me just check if it's. I'm pretty sure it's only for MDL, guys. The global ban.
Is it actually? If it's over the MPL, that's just like, I don't know. Players who are famous for playing one hero, right? They're gonna struggle a lot. You know, because back then, you can be forced to ban them out, and that just makes the whole ban phase dynamic different. But if there's global bans like that, that's gonna make everything just so much more different, and that's gonna put a lot more pressure on analysts, right? Not just coaches, to try and get that data down.
But honestly, guys, all right, so I'll explain what global ban is, all right, guys? Basically, if you use the hero once, you're not allowed to use it again. Let's say BTR versus Alter Ego. BTR picks up Xavier in game 1. Needless to say, they win or lose, they can't use Xavier in the next game.
And
in the series.
Use the same hero, though.
They can, but only once. So let's say BTR picks Xavier in game 1, Alter Ego picks Xavier in game 2. The rest of the games that they'll have to play in the series, they're not going to be able to pick Xavier. So that's what the global ban means, ladies and gentlemen, okay? For me, I feel like it's going to be it's very interesting to see if it's just in the MDL play-ins, which that's the idea I got. But now looking at it, it might be MPL 2. I'm going to give my personal take on this. I don't think they should implement the global ban in MPL. I don't think they should do that. Global ban is a fun it's a fun concept. But man, I don't think they should be. I don't like that.
It's a bit weird for me as well, honestly.
If it's in the MPL stage, right? If it's in the MDL play-in stage, it's a different thing.
Right.
I don't think it's. I hope it's not in the MDL. I hope it's not in the MPL because the global ban is the whole series, guys, whole series. Yeah, so yeah, the global ban is cool, but it's I don't know. I don't like it.
I
I
think
don't
it'll
like it.
make the picks a lot more dynamic, right? You'll be
Mm-hmm.
forced to play all these heroes that don't really get the spotlight. So in a way, it's cool, but at the same time, it just makes for the idea behind competitive games, right? Is that the rules are kind of like solid, you know? Like soccer is there, like football. I'm gonna get hated for that. Yeah, but football, right? Like there's no change, you know. That's why you can adapt, you can train, you can like do cool things because it's so limited in that sense, you know.
Mm.
When things become too flexible, too dynamic, you can't see like let's say a coach is just really good at the draft phase, right? You can't get to see his like tactical like thinking, you know, like who he bans, what he's trying to do, right? What he's trying to limit because like there's just too much chaos. So I do agree. I don't really like that idea, or maybe yeah, I just don't really like that idea to be honest. Hopefully, we'll get some
Hopefully it's not in the
clarity. I can
MPL, right? Because I'm all maybe
yeah.
like yeah, I just really hope it's not going to be in the highest level of competitive play, you know, because reading the meta is something that's going to be is you know a skill set on its own. That's how teams have been dominant so far, right? And if they add this global ban, then it adds I feel like RNG into the
Yeah.
competitiveness of it, and I don't like it. I don't like it because it, yeah, everything that you've planned before, the strategies, etc. It's gonna be pre-randomized now. You like global ban? I like global ban too. I'm not saying that it's hot garbage. I'm saying um it doesn't deserve to be at the highest level of competitive play. You know, if it's MDL play-ins, I agree. It's a fun little thing. It's a fun little addition, I guess, to the MLB esports scene. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know about it being in MPL, and if it succeeds in MPL, then they might go for M4 with it. Again, I don't like the idea of that being in the top level of competitive play. Yeah, global ban will ruin the reason why teams practice in scrims. You're kind of right? Because yeah, you need to learn the heroes that are meta right now. If that's the case, then metas don't really matter anymore, right? Like you can lose game one, you could give out all the meta heroes, and it's done. You know what I mean? Like there's, it's gonna be weird for sure. We'll see if they actually implement this in MPL or not. But for now, the idea that I'm getting is that the global ban will only be in MDL. Yeah, for right now. Let's talk about the last topic though, Arashi. This is just gonna be a quick one. If Moonton decides to make an MPL in a region anywhere in the world, where do you think it should be?
Oh,
Yeah.
no question.
New
Weren't you
MPL
saying
region. Where?
weren't you talking a lot about like a Chinese MPL?
Yeah, Chinese, Korean MPL is gonna be good.
Well, Korean is one thing, right? Because apparently, like Korean gamers are just like insane next level. But at
Yeah.
the same time, you know the
They're
whole idea,
robots, bro. They
it,
they literally don't live. They only play the game.
for better or worse.
Yeah.
So I mean, initially, right? I do think initially the reason why Indonesia was so strong, right? Because back when the meta, when the macro play wasn't really as sharp as it is today, right? The fact that we have such a huge talent pool in Indonesia was a big factor in like deciding how many good players mechanically we have in Indonesia compared to the rest of the regions. So with that in mind, right? China has a huge like talent pool to draw from. So I think there's a lot of interesting possibilities, but I don't know how that's gonna like play out. That just seems so complicated to try and like arrange essentially.
I agree. We'll see about that, right? I mean, for me, it's always been like, yeah, let's go for China, let's go for Japan, let's go for Korea. But now I have a different one. I
Oh,
Let's give some attention to the West, ladies and gentlemen. MPL NA would be very interesting, especially considering that I'm going to be casting an NACT. Boys, that's the reveal. See! Mirko, NACT, we are confirmed, boys. Your boy, we got it done. Your boy's going to be casting in the first day of NACT. So there you go. For everyone waiting, for everyone who was asking about it every single day in my live streams, finally, I'll confirm it here. MPL, not MPL NA. NACT, Mirko is real. It's a done deal. Boom, bang, bada bing. Here we go. Your boy's there. But yeah, if we're talking about just giving a new MPL or like getting a new MPL developed in a country, I feel like China would be good, Korea would be good, Japan would be good, but why not give it to a region who's already shown, shown their skill on the international stage, BTK were able to get third place. That's higher than Indo and Malaysia, by the way, at M3. That's something that's insane. Hopefully, though, it all goes to plan, right? Because right now with NACT, they are actually trying to build that. They're trying to build the audience. They're trying to build they're just trying to build the region there, develop it slowly but surely. If it all goes to plan, then MPLNA will surely be made, will surely be developed there. So everyone who's asking in the chat right now, when is NACT going to be? It's going to be, time zones, right? Let me just check real quick. Oh, my bad. That was the chat. My bad. But yeah. Let me just, I forgot the Discord was connected. But yeah. When is it? Let me check on my phone. Whoops.
First episode, guys. First episode.
It's first episode, yeah. Hopefully there wasn't anything there. But yeah, I guess you could kind of read that. My bad, G. You could just pause in the right second. My bad, G. But when is it gonna be? When is it gonna be? Because it's the time zones that's getting me mixed up, you know. Because you guys most of you guys are from Asia, right? So I'm trying to think about it. Like, all right, for Indonesia, okay, I'm just gonna say it. For Indonesia, it's on the 9th of July at 6 a.m. in the morning. That's for Indonesia. 6 a.m. in the morning, 9th of July. Plus 1 hour if you're in Malaysia, Singapore, and Philippines. Okay.
Are you flying over?
No, I'm going to be online. It's going to be online cast, guys. I'm not going to fly over to North America. That's going to be, that's a long flight.
18 hours.
It's a long flight, yeah. I'm late. Did you already discuss Kyrie and Yeb as imports? Yeah, GMT plus 8, it should be like around 7 a.m. July 9th. 9th of July in the morning. Yeah. Mirko not going to cast NACT? I am.
No, he just said he's going.
Yeah, no, it's July 9th in the PH. It's July 8th at night in North America. You see, that's why I tried to check the date again to calculate it. 6 a.m. in the morning, that's tough. Exactly, but again, it's for NA, right? So most of the viewers will be NA, and it's going to be July 8th for any time, July 9th morning for us. Audience will be huge if India had MPL. I agree. I got Mirko casting for me again. No collab, Mirko and Moba Zane. Well, technically it's kind of a collab, right? If I cast for NACT. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's it. Arashi, do you have any other, thoughts, notes, or something you want to say before we end this first episode, the pilot episode of SarCAST? SarCAST.
Nah, I think I'm fine.
You're fine? You're good? All right. Well, guys, if you guys are, if you guys liked Arashi and his takes, his opinions, you guys can follow him on Instagram right there below his name. That's at Awashi with 3 E's. Yes, I had to check that myself. I opened up his IG and I checked it. Is it 3 E's or 2 E's? Because I forgot. But the YouTube is YouTube also like 3 E's?
I believe so, yeah.
All right.
I'm trying to make it like all the same, Like, if it's different, it's kind of confusing.
Awashi EEE, okay? 3 times. So Awashi on YouTube, Awashi on Instagram. You guys can find him. He might be streaming later on YouTube. I'm trying to convert him over to YouTube. He's been a Twitch streamer for some time. But you guys can check my socials as well down below. Instagram, YouTube. You're already here. Just click on the subscribe button, click on the like button, and click on the membership button because I need money. No, I'm joking. It's a bonus. But you guys can find me on Facebook and Twitter as well in the description of this video. And yeah, I mean, we're not going to be talking about ISF just yet. I don't really have that much information about ISF. Once we do, we're definitely going to do that. We're definitely going to be talking about ISF, right? Once it gets closer as well. So we have more details on the teams that qualified, etc. But for now, let's not talk about it just yet. We're just going to wait for that to happen. That's it for the video, guys. I'll be in NACT. Catch me on the 9th of July in the morning if you're from Asia, if you're from Southeast Asia.
Just give them the time zone, dude.
Yeah.
Give them, like, the
GMT plus 7. Yeah.
6 a.m.
You know what, guys? I'll
9
post it. I'll post the time, the exact time, because time zones are hard. Yeah. All right. See you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Everybody in the chat, everyone who has donated today, thank you so much. I'm going to read them out right now. Joe, Alan, Dragonwolf, Agung, and DJY. Thank you guys so much for donating today. Much appreciated, man. Helping the channel out. And everyone in the chat, I'm going to give you one last shout out. I'm going to be reading out some of the names. Avern, Kane, Eldoba, Daftolfo, Duble, Mr. Koi Koi, Johnny Walker, Boboka, Kane, Jack Harlow, Nathaniel, Madara, Boxes, and Jevan and Lex. There you go. Thank you guys so much for watching, man. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, guys.
SarCAST episode 1 done. Boom bang, bada bing.
Drop the roof and let the smoke clear.